So, welcome back to another episode of the Let's Chat Derbyshire podcast. Today we are going to be talking about ADHD, autism and adult diagnosis. We're joined by Deb.
Hello.
How are you doing?
I'm alright, I think.
That's alright. So, just to get us started, we like to just check in, see how you're doing out of 10. I'm probably at about 6 today. It's been a stressful old day, but how about you?
Do you know what? I'm doing all right today.
Good.
Daughter's just gone back to school today and actually went. I've had a nice drive out here to Matlock, so yeah, I'm all right. I think I'm probably at about 7 to 8.
That's nice.
Yeah.
Makes a big difference. I
I'm
like
all right.
driving through Derbyshire as well. It's like quite relaxing.
Yeah.
Not when you hit the traffic, but on the whole,
yeah,
the countryside bits are lovely, aren't they?
Yeah.
So just to get us started, if you don't mind, a bit of introduction to who you are, I guess how we sort of know each other, and we'll take it from there.
I hate those questions of who are you, because it's like, well, how much do I tell you?
Yeah.
There's a million things.
The initial ND. I'll tell you everything.
I'm going to tell you everything that I've ever been in my entire life. So I am a social worker and practice development lead.
Mm-hmm.
So that means I support newly qualified social workers and students and all of that good stuff. But I also just help support with the neurodiversity staff network.
Yeah.
I say help support because it's kind of a bit of a group effort. I think generally I just turn up and talk rubbish, and some people kind of join in sometimes. But it seems to be useful. It's a good space.
Yeah,
So yeah, that's kind of what I do. I do quite a lot of stuff externally now as well, all around neurodiversity and generally in social work.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's pretty much me.
Yeah, you've done loads, I think, around social work and Devo. Like I see it popping up on LinkedIn and being pulled from pillar to post to talks and stuff, aren't you?
Yeah. We deliver training across the UK now.
Wow,
which is awesome. Yeah. Really good that we're talking about it, but.
Yeah.
In that typical ND thing of, I'm going to say yes to like all the things, I'm going to do all the things, and then wonder why I'm burning out.
Yeah.
And why I'm shattered.
Yeah.
But
they're massively burnt out, but then still.
Yeah. But no, it's going really well, and it's really good that people are talking about it, and actually, it's really everybody's responded really positively to what we're doing. So there's been nobody that's kind of, how you sometimes think you're going to get there. This is rubbish, and none of that.
That's been really good.
So really, really positive.
So in terms of, I guess, your story, when did it start for you, I guess? Your little ND journey?
It's really weird when you look back.
Yeah.
So I was diagnosed with ADHD in 2018.
Okay, yeah.
Was it 2018? No, it wasn't 2018. It was 2020. It was lockdown.
Oh, okay,
it was during lockdown because I think we all started working from home, and all my strategies that I didn't know I had disappeared, and I can remember sitting at my desk one day thinking, I've sat here for 4 hours and I've done literally nothing, and I've just stared at the screen, and I'm going to get fired and I'm going to be homeless and it's all going to go horrible. I just got totally stuck and just couldn't do anything. And I thought, so I'd been diagnosed with depression like years and years ago, so I was like, oh, it's clearly that I'm just it's rubbish time, I'm depressed. And it was only on talking to a few people that they kind of went, well, what you're saying kind of sounds like. So I went to the doctors to try and get my diagnosis, and it was like a 1,000,000-year wait. So I ended up going private just because I wanted to know what was going on. But even then, imposter syndrome, she was kind of, even when she said, you clearly are scoring very highly for ADHD, I was like, yeah, but maybe I've given you the wrong answers, or maybe you think. So that was that, and then the autism kind of came along a bit later. So I was diagnosed with autism last year. So it's been a bit of a weird one, being diagnosed so late.
Yeah, I guess what was it like for you? Did you, I guess, pre-diagnosis, did you have any suspicions, or do you think you just got on with it, or what did you know?
I think I just thought that I was just a bit rubbish. I was a bit scatty, and I was a bit slower than other people. I always noticed that I seemed to work much more than other people to do the same thing.
Yeah.
And I didn't know, I thought that was just because I'm a bit daft, because I am a bit daft. You know, it's always me that was late. It was always me that was losing stuff. It was always me that was dropping everything and being a bit disorganised. It was always that.
Yeah.
And it was like a running joke. And I just thought it was just me. But that impacted, that's why I was diagnosed with depression, because I was just like, why am I so rubbish?
Yeah.
So yeah, but looking back, there's tons of signs, but you don't see it, do you? Because you've only ever been you.
Yeah. No, exactly. Yeah.
So yeah, it was all of that stuff. And when I look back at things, what people used to say to me, that it would always be like a little bit of a joke of, oh, we tell you to come half an hour earlier so you get there on time, and we know it takes you a bit longer to do this stuff, but that gets in you, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. Yeah. It goes back to, I think, I can't remember the exact figure, but like a 10-year-old child gets, I think it's like 10,000 or something more.
20,000 more.
20,000 more
Yeah.
negative comments, and it carries on though, doesn't it? It just doesn't stop when you're a child.
Yeah.
It just keeps going.
Yeah.
And, I think it just, yeah.
And when I look back to my childhood, like at school, I mean, again, I guess, you know, I'm female, so it's different, but yeah, I was the one sat in the back corner staring into space, not really, just completely zoned out, but very, very sort of invisible.
Yeah.
So it was never, they just said, oh, you're a bit of a daydreamer. Well, yeah, because in my mind I've got like unicorns jumping all over and whatever. It's when I look back I can see it. Totally.
Interesting, yeah. What I guess what made you go for the diagnosis? Did something click, or was it just you know, obviously you weren't focusing and stuff, so was it you just
genuinely I thought I was going to get sacked.
Yeah.
But it was it was joking about it, but it was like, I can't sit here and stare in space and now I can see that's the overwhelm, the executive function overwhelm that was hitting, but I was just like, I can't function, and I've got 2 kids, 2 teenagers, also with additional needs, and I was kind of, the mental health thing hit of, I'm failing them, I'm not going to be, you know, I kept forgetting their PE kits, and you know, all the little stupid things that, and I just thought, I've got to try and see, this is the thing, isn't it? I've got to try and be better.
Yeah.
Although actually we're fine as we are, but at the time I've got to be better. Yeah,
I don't think that goes though, does it? I think people that are listening, they've got like ADHD or something, will just completely get it.
Yeah.
Like when we joke about saying like, oh, we're gonna get sacked.
Yeah.
Just automatic. Even now, like,
and you don't see the stuff that you do. So when all those days that I was completely overwhelmed and did nothing, on another day I'd probably do 3 days work. But I didn't see that. No. I just saw all the stuff that I wasn't doing, like everybody else. Yeah. So it was that I just had I cannot do this anymore. I cannot just sit and just be, and I couldn't sleep, and I couldn't, you know, like you have to change something. And I think sitting at home during lockdown, there was no distraction from how rubbish I thought I was. So that was kind of it.
Quite self-isolating as well, can't it?
You
get into that mindset then, and then you do just struggle there. As like you were saying, like some days you can just hyper-focus and get so much stuff done. Yeah. But you just don't see it.
You don't see that. You just see the times when you struggle, don't you? Because that's what people tell you about.
Yeah, definitely. That's sometimes what makes me laugh. Like, I'll get messages from people and my manager said that they've seen that I've not been online, but I'm still doing my work, but I'm like getting the discipline in for it. And it's like, I just wish there was that understanding that, I know between like 10 and 1 they might just be having a real down period. But actually, what you don't see is they're on at 10 o'clock at night smashing the workout, because that's when they're just at the peak performance. I
literally rang my manager yesterday because I think it's about 2 o'clock-ish that I just had the brain crash, and I was just and I just said, I'm doing nothing right now, so I'm going to take an hour away. I'll be back in a bit. And I think I was still on at like 7, but I just needed to reset.
Really?
And I got everything done, and I'm not behind. Everything's fine. In fact, I do over and above. Yeah. But it's I had to say I need to step away because my brain's switched off.
No, definitely. I think that just being open and honest really helps, doesn't it?
Yeah.
With yourself and with like your others. And stuff, because I'm like in the morning sometimes it's just not for me.
No.
But then I'll work till like 8, 9 o'clock because that's
exactly the same.
Like,
yeah.
How did it feel for you? Like, what Yeah, did it like answer questions? What?
It was the weirdest thing because like I'm quite old, so I'm like 47 now. I was diagnosed at like early 40s. I can't even do the maths, but it was just weird because firstly it was the imposter syndrome. Like, well, I clearly gave her answers to make her think that, and I forgot that she's like, the psychiatrist is a professional that's very good at doing this job, and I am not that clever that I can kind of change. But it was that, and then I think I got really upset because I did the whole like, what would it have been like had I ever known? And I kind of did the grieving thing of like all the stuff, all the struggles, because again, we're joking, aren't we? But all the struggles that you go through and stuff, and there's a lot. Would they have been like that had I been diagnosed before? So I got really quite upset for quite a while. And then I think I was a bit like, okay, cool, so I'm not rubbish. And that it didn't take that long to get to that point, and I think once I got to that point, that's when I got hyper focused and did all my research, because I was like, okay, and then all the answers came, and then the relief was like unreal. Just kind of understanding why I do stuff.
It's really
why am I like this? So it went very, very positive, I think, quite quickly, but I did have to go through a bit of a grieving thing first.
I think definitely people seem to say that a lot when they get diagnosed later on. It just helps them put things into perspective as well of not like being rubbish.
Because I'd had like almost 40 odd years of kind of trying to struggle on myself. And then to be told actually all those things not necessarily your fault is quite a big feeling to have.
What was it like after then? Once you'd sort of got settled into it and stuff, did it make things easier, or was it just like that understanding and then doing the research into different things that helped?
It was weird because I got hyper focused on it. Did all my research and stuff, but then what I found was I started panicking, thinking, am I kind of making, when you do all your research, like, am I doing this because I've researched it? And then again, the imposter syndrome hits a little bit, but no, I think it started to make stuff make sense, and I started to kind of not, because we do stuff because that's what we're told, that's how we're told to do it, don't we? And it was only kind of when I did that and I kind of thought, actually, I don't need to do it that way, and actually I'll do it this way because that's easier and that works better. And I think it was just allowing myself to do that. But it was, I can remember someone saying to me, like, I understand you need to talk about it, but don't be it. And I was like, well, I am it. It is me. I am it. Like, we are as well. And that was weird as well. People sort of, I think not masking is, you think that you're just going to stop, but it's not. You don't just take the mask off.
No.
You have to learn. And there's still such a lot of stigma around it, like, oh, you're lazy, you're a bit daft, you're a bit scatty, and that's it, like you said earlier, that sticks with you. And then for you to show somebody, like, actually, right now, I'm really struggling to focus, I'm going to need to step away and I'm going to come back in a bit, to not panic that they're then going to think that you're a bit, a bit rubbish.
Yeah, no, it's hard, isn't it? Yeah. I feel like, because I'm blessed that I'm in a job where I can have that flexibility, but past jobs have been so hard. And like I just feel so sorry for people that are in those jobs where they don't have that time, where they have to be like doing it, because it is hard. It's absolutely draining, and if there was flexibility, they'd probably be able to perform.
Well, that's the thing. If you think about our brains, like, I can't filter stuff out, so everything's at you all the time. So even when I'm not trying to, we're still working so much harder just to kind of do basic stuff. So we're gonna be exhausted, aren't we? We're gonna be like, it's not as straightforward. So we need to. I just forget sometimes that I shouldn't beat myself up for that stuff.
Yeah, it's so easy to, isn't it? I think it's so easy to, and I think that just goes back to the condition as well. Though like even when you're not doing anything, like, I don't know, you just think other people do it, and then you start beating yourself up.
That you don't do it like that.
Just keep going and going,
Yeah.
and you're just like,
Yeah.
So even when you're trying not to think, your brain's just like
Yeah.
overdrive, isn't it?
Your brain's going, no, we're going to do this now.
Or you're just like reviewing stuff that's happened in the day.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, I'll probably do that after this because I'll be like, did I say that? Did I say it? I don't know. Yeah, and it's tiring.
It is. It
really
is.
tiring.
When, I guess, when did you go for like the autism diagnosis? What, was it because there's so much overlap, isn't there? We know there's so much overlap. And
I think so. Like I said, I've got two teenage girls who have both been diagnosed with autism.
Yeah.
And I was kind of like, maybe, like when you start seeing traits, and I was like, that's quite like me. And some ADHD stuff didn't, I don't know, there was just other stuff that I was just like, this doesn't sit, and I don't know what that is. And I suppose it didn't really matter, like, you're not going to get medication for autism. It's not like you're going to get any. But I think I just wanted to carry on that, like, understanding myself thing. And, like, why? Because I'm not always the same as someone who's typically ADHD, and I was like, why? So I just thought, what, I'm just going to go for it and see. I might as well.
Yeah, no, definitely. So I guess even with
I'm on the journey. I might as well do the whole thing. When I've been on medication for my ADHD, I've noticed my autism becomes much more prominent. Really? I guess because the medication's managing my ADHD, and then suddenly all my autistic traits come out, and I'm like, wait, where did that come from? What is that about? So that's really weird as well. Wow. Learning how it just, and the thing in your brain when you're like, your ADHD side is kind of, go do this is really cool, that's going to give you dopamine, and then your autistic side is going, no, that's out of the ordinary. This whole like battle all the time is very
like it must be such a battle.
Yeah,
because at least for me, like when I get my little ADHD bursts, I'm just like,
and then when you've got your autistic side going, no, we don't do that, do we? And it's just like, it is literally like I've got two little people.
That's what I'm imagining it like, a good little cartoon, isn't it?
So in my, and I guess that's why I went for it, because I was just like, do you know what, I need to. So now that I've had the diagnosis, I can kind of go, do you know what, it's an autistic day today. I'm just not, and I can just make sense of my little tisms, as I call them. Like I can get it. So it just helps me make sense, I guess.
How did you find, I guess, the meds before the whole hoo-ha that's still going on? What was it like starting them? Because people I've spoke to who started them when, maybe going through menopause and stuff like that, I found it really difficult to know.
I went through quite a few different ones. What I found was a couple of them made me feel like I could focus and I could think, because I can remember standing in the shower and thinking, God, it's dead quiet. It's really weird, and everything went all quiet. But they also gave me really high anxiety. So that was, and I felt for a while like I had to make a decision of like, right, do I want to be able to focus and think straight and kind of like be normal, but horribly anxious, and they used to give me crazy headaches, or do I want to not be able to function and struggle through but feel well? And it felt like I had to make a choice between being focused and being well, for quite a long time. And it's frustrating now because I asked to change my medication because they were making me feel a bit rubbish. But because of the shortage and the waiting list, I've had to go back to the beginning of the waiting list again so that I can go and be seen again so they can change my medication. And it's like, really? So
I think I've been waiting a year just for different meds.
It's been about that for me. So it does feel like you have to make a bit of a... I know for some people they work fantastically, so I'm really not saying... anything bad about it. I think you've just got to find the right one. And no, definitely. And you feel able to just go, this, because that was what on that day that I said I was stuck. I wouldn't allow myself to step away from the laptop. I just sat bawling my eyes out for about 8 hours. Whereas now I would never do that. I would never do that. I would get up and move away and come back. But I didn't let myself, because I was like, you should be able to do this. So it's hard without. I think the medication helps loads, but equally, there's pros and cons, isn't there?
There is, yeah. How have you found balancing, I guess, ADHD and autism? Like, have you been able to, or is it very much
Not really.
Just trying to.
I think I just and I'm still learning so much. So, for example, at the weekend, I realised that when people talk to me, I only pick up 2 or 3 points of what they're saying, and I miss a lot of the stuff in between that gives context. And then what my brain does is jumps on those 3 or 4 things and decides a whole narrative of what it is that they've just said to me, which often isn't the narrative of what they actually meant. And someone said to me, like, I did say those things, but I also said a load of other stuff in the middle, and you missed all of that. And you've now decided, like, I said this, but I didn't. I said that, and I was like, wow, I didn't even know I did that. So I think I'm still learning so much about all of how I process stuff. Yeah. So am I balancing it? No, probably not. But I think I just try and go with it. And when I learn something, I'm like, right, so that's the thing.
Yeah.
So,
it's good that you're, I guess, still open to learning about
it.
Not just...
And I think I'm just dead open with people. So, for example, with that person, I was just really open about, okay, so how did you perceive my... What did I, and then I've been able to kind of like, right, okay, actually I can see that I did that. Okay. And I can see why I got really upset by what you said, because I only picked out on those little bits and I missed the other stuff. And but you've got to continually be open to, wow, do I do that? Okay. And I think that was one thing when I first got diagnosed, is I kind of thought that would happen overnight. Like I'd just figure myself out, and you don't do that.
No, definitely not. Has it helped you knowing being a mum? Like, do you feel like it's helped you and helped your family?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, there's times, like I said, I'm in a household of 3 neurodivergent females, which sometimes you don't want to be around all of that. Like, that's a whole big mess in itself. But I think I'm hoping, they may disagree with me, but I'm hoping that them seeing me be quite open about, do you know what, today, my brain, just not, makes them feel a bit more able to be the same. Equally, I'll talk to them sometimes about rejection sensitivity disorder. So when they're teenagey horrible to me, I will go spinning thinking I'm a terrible parent and everyone hates me. Me being able to say to them, do you know what, I know you didn't mean that, but that's making me do this. And then they'll kind of see the impact of stuff as well. So but it's interesting.
Themselves a bit as well, 'cause they're still
I think
young,
so.
So if they're still learning.
And I'm hoping that they can see that actually just being open and sharing not necessarily what your struggles are, but actually just what you need is not a bad thing.
No.
It's not saying that you're, you need fixing or you're broken. You're just saying, do you know what, this really helps. I need you to do that. It's okay.
Yeah, that's really good.
I hope, anyway.
Yeah.
They'll probably say something different if I asked them, but...
depends what mood they're in.
I know. Yeah.
How are things now, I guess? You said, you're still on the journey of, discovering yourself and stuff. Is there anything you found useful or, where...
Yeah, I mean, I still have massive up and down days. Like I said, that thing at the weekend was really knocked me for 6 because I didn't realise I did that. But I've got a little book. The little things like that happen. I will write it down, and although it's not, I probably won't ever look at it. But for writing it down on something, it's kind of like it's my processing, because I've realised I don't always process in the way that I think. I think when something happens in my mind, like, oh, okay, that's cool, I forget that I need to process it, and it takes time to process it, and it'll come back to me in a few days, and I'm like, so by kind of stopping and writing it down, maybe like the next day or the day after, it's making me process. So that's something that I've found really, really helps. Because if I don't do that, that's when I spin off. Yeah. And that's when I get low or get whatever. And then you start, thinking, oh, I'm rubbish. That works for me anyway.
It's still, I don't know. I've known I've had ADHD since being a kid, and I just don't think it gets any easier.
No.
I think you find ways of dealing with stuff better, but it does
Yeah.
Feels like it's still always a constant battle.
Yeah.
But I think that's just society, isn't it, rather than
Yeah.
just people.
And you're always going to have days where you just think, you know, when something is just hard.
Yeah.
You know, like you're in a team meeting and everyone's talking and you can't listen, and it's just. I had it today. Everybody was talking at the same time and all the lights were on. And I was just like, oh, I just can't do this.
Yeah.
You're always going to have that. There's nothing that you can do to change that. But what I just do now is I just got up and went to the toilet and just had 5 minutes because I was like, oh.
Yeah.
I think it's allowing yourself.
Yeah, definitely. I guess for people that probably aren't ND and are like, well, it's not that bad. It can be really hard, can't it? Because I think it feels like everything's going at 100 miles an hour past
Yeah.
you.
Yeah.
You don't know what's being said.
Yeah.
And
I think the sensory stuff is the biggest thing with me, because it, like, I get to the point where it I don't know, and this is probably not for other people, maybe it is just me being a bit weird, and I'll totally own that, but it makes my fingers hurt. I get it in my fingers and I get all twitchy and I can feel it, like it's an actual physical thing when things get overwhelming. And I've noticed, because I start doing that, like, I'm saying like anyone can see, like I start messing with my fingers and my hands and stuff, it gets physical. I can feel that I'm getting overwhelmed and stuff. So and now I am very probably too, not that we would ever overshare, but I'm probably too open about it, because I will say to people, I'm overwhelmed, I'm just going to go over there for a minute, and but people kind of go, okay, fine, and it's not an issue.
It's not an issue, is it?
No, and I think quite often we build it up to be one, don't we?
Yeah.
But actually,
regulate it probably as well, if not, you'll start stimming more, wouldn't you? And then it would just keep going and going.
And I know very much that there are times when I need to regulate stuff, because I can feel it. I can, like, regulating emotions and stuff. Yeah. I know that there's times where I'm like, I am not regulating right now. I need to. I just think being aware, self-aware, is so helpful. And you can only do that if you're given the space to sort of unmask. Yeah. Really.
It's and I think it's so different at home to then at work to then like social situations, and you're having to like jump from being like a different person in each situation.
Yeah. And this is the thing that frustrates me sometimes, because, you know, when people go, well, you're all right at work, but then, so at work, it's like, we're chatting now, but if someone was to kind of, say if I was out at night and someone came to speak to me that I didn't know, wouldn't be able to speak or look at him or anything, but that's because I've got a different face mask on. I'm at work at the minute, so I've got my work face on, so I'm all right. And I don't think people understand that. No. When I'm in my space.
What, I guess, have been the biggest learns for you? If there is, you might just be the whole thing, but has there been any standout learns that you're like, okay, that makes sense for so much of my life?
Communication, I think, biggest one for me. Just like I said, it was only like this weekend. That was a massive one. I didn't know I did that. But when I look back to all, you know, like when you've struggled with friendships or relationships and you're like, why does that? I think I've done that all along. I've picked out little things and then created this narrative, and actually that's not accurate. That's always been that's been something. And executive functioning stuff. So kind of when I get overwhelmed and I get stuck and I'm sat there thinking, I can't get dressed today because I don't know which thing to pick up first, so I'm just going to sit and stare at it for 3 hours. Now I've learned, like, I must seem like such a weirdo. I literally sit at home going, this is just executive functioning. Your brain's just being a bit silly. Like, just have a minute and then go. But, you know, just having that process resets me. Probably look like a right weirdo, but it resets, and then I can go like, right, okay, move on.
I think that's, when we were talking to Meg about her autism, and she was saying sometimes she has to use like picture cards in like the shower. She'll just be stood staring at it and going, I don't know
literally
what I'm doing.
Literally, it's always getting dressed for me, because it's kind of like sitting there thinking, or I did it the other day where I was, when you get that thing in your head like, oh, I've got to do this thing, but I was brushing my teeth and then I'm like, oh wait, I need to go and take that thing out, and then I'm walking around with the toothbrush but carrying that thing about and then dropping stuff and I call it like the glitch, and then you have to make myself stop, do this and then that, right, it's fine.
So easy.
I'm just so scared of forgetting stuff that I'm like, I must do it all immediately.
And then you turn around and it's just like,
just you look around the house and you're like, well, how did what happened?
It's 4 hours later.
You've
not actually done it yet.
Craziness. But it's just but again, I think I'm just gonna have days like that.
Oh yeah, definitely.
It's just gonna happen and it's all right.
It is. It is. I think and I think a lot of people, diagnosis really can help, but even if you think you've like got ADHD or something, just doing that research I think can really put things in perspective. So much that you can do in the meantime. I think just learning about yourself, because you know you best.
Yeah.
So like, rejection sensitivities for you, like I only learned about that like a few years ago.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
And I think a lot of the strategies that we probably come up with generally will help anyone and anyone. Yeah. So you don't need a diagnosis to kind of benefit from learning about yourself and coming up with different strategies, because that's the whole point of neurodiversity, is that we all do it differently. And that's kind of the beauty of it, I suppose.
No, it is. I guess, is there any words of wisdom before we wrap it up for anyone?
I think just I'm trying to think what it is. I suppose it's just about giving yourself that time and being open to it. So about a year ago, if someone had said that thing to me about my communication, I'd have got dead defensive and upset and thought it was a direct attack. But actually now I'm trying to just see it as, okay, so I do that. So what does that mean for me and what does that mean for the people? And trying to, just giving yourself space to process it just as what it is, rather than taking it inside and thinking this is a way I failed. It's not a way I failed. It's just a way I do it differently. That's all. So it's just giving yourself time and not trying to be perfect, because actually there's no neurotypical person in the world who is perfect and does everything wonderfully and brilliantly. So why should we?
Yeah, no, I agree.
And just be your own little weird self.
You'll never be able to change stuff, as in, so it's just learning how to do stuff the best for you, rather than other people, which I still do. I'm still absolutely horrendous.
And even if you've got like little weird quirks that make you do certain things, so what? Actually, so what? It doesn't matter. So it's just I think that's it. But I also think that when you do have days where the mental health side hits, talking to someone who, finding your group of people is everything, because there's so many times when I've had like those bad mental health days, and talking to even people in our group is just like, okay, this is horrible, but it's kind of normal and I can get through it.
Yeah, no, definitely.
Is everything.
I don't know if it is the ND of stuff, but I feel like it can get bad quickly. Yeah. Like it can get really low really quickly.
It's the regulating emotions thing, isn't it? Once it starts, you can't regulate that very well.
Yeah. And I think just hearing it from other people that get it, just helps. It doesn't fix it.
No,
it helps you ride it out. I think a bit easier.
Yeah, because it is very isolating. I think being neurodivergent sometimes, because you have had that whole life of sitting watching other people, thinking, why don't I do that? So if you can, I think that, maybe that is my one piece of advice, is find your people. Yeah. Find your people, or even if it's just a person who you can be yourself with. Yeah.
Thank you. That's great.
No worries.
Thank you. So, you've been listening to the Let's Chat Derbyshire podcast. Don't forget to like and subscribe at